beautiful souls. Welcome to Cosmo Muse Tarot. And this Monday I am doing a mystery reading from Spirit. What is some kind of mysterious message trying to come through to you that Spirit wants to give you some insight into? So a little aside before I get into this. So I do all of my readings for a week chunk on a Monday for the next week, and I give myself, I section out about 4 hours on my Mondays to do these, and I try to do my little daily shorts, and then the 3 readings I typically do Mondays is always a little fluctuating, and then like a glow up message on Wednesdays, and then more of that ask a question or yes no on Friday. This week, I really felt called to do some deep dive messages for the Monday reading, and I really felt like there needed to be 4 piles for that. So because of my allotted time to do readings, and what I feel called to do in the Monday reading, I am not going to be publishing the Wednesday glow up reading this week, but this Monday reading will go a little bit longer. I'm using decks that are a lot more in depth where I may have to pull out, well, I do intend to pull out the guidebooks on a lot of the decks I'm using just to get, not necessarily reading the whole message within the guidebook, but at least kind of pulling out some key things and initial paragraphs and stuff to get some insight into the cards coming out. And also, because these are mystery messages, so each pile will probably be quite different from one another, you are very welcome to pick more than one pile. As many of the piles as calls out to you is great. Feel free to choose whichever ones are calling to you. Okay, so that being said, I already have 4 piles here. When I was sort of playing with this reading, a lot of times I'll do like a really quick mock version of it just to get an idea of what's going on. And the 4 piles I picked in that mock one, for some reason, I've never had that, but the message came through that these are supposed to be the piles. So I just kept them. So yeah, that said, let's take a look at these. We've got pile 1 is Temperance. And these are from the Mike Wilcox Tarot. Pile 2 is the Bell. Pile 3 is the 3 Doors. And pile 4 is Aquarius. So feel free to pause here, take as long as you need to get centered, to feel ready to even pick, and then feel into which piles are calling out to you or have sort of like a feeling like they're drawing you in or they're talking to you, however you tend to connect with piles. And yeah, timestamps will be down in the descriptions when you are ready for your at least your first reading. If you're doing more than one, you can just go straight down to descriptions and jump to your reading, and I will see you guys in your piles. Hello, pile 1. Welcome to your mystery message reading from Spirit. You guys chose the Temperance card. Hold it up for you. So there's definitely something in this message about you. Either we'll see what happens. Spirit will either want to talk to you about the way in which you're holding your purpose or a way in which to better find and align to your purpose. We'll see what comes through. But there is something about getting and being really clear about your purpose and your integrity in that, and really knowing how to take what's deeply inside of you and manifest it externally. This card, like if you were to look at the hero's journey, it has a lot to do with that like master of two worlds. But a lot of times I will read it as like really knowing inside of ourselves who we are, what we're supposed to be doing, what our authenticity is, what our purpose in the world is, and then knowing how to take actions in the world to bring that into reality, to manifest that external in your life, and having this discipline to keep that in flow, to hold that responsibility, to hold that perseverance and dedication and honoring of, you know, knowing what you're supposed to be doing in life and actually doing that. But there's also this thing with the temperance, and you do see on this card, it definitely calls it out specifically. There is a last quarter moon here. Something about also really understanding awareness of others, and that like our purpose, there sometimes has to be some give and take. We can't always be single-minded in our purpose and fully kind of centered in our purpose. Sometimes there are other things going on in life that some other types of give and take have to happen. So there's also this thing in temperance of an awareness of the world around you, and of an awareness of people around you, and learning how to harmonize and how you impact and how others are impacting you. And it's just like this really beautiful ability to hold it all and to easily find that way of fluid action, fluid centering, to know how to manage what is, stay integral to yourself, but still respond to what's going on in the world and around you. So really, you know, temperance to me is a very, very, very powerful card. So your mystery message has something to do with this. Let's see what exactly Spirit, like more specifically, what it's wanting to say about this message. So we're going to pick 3 more cards from this Mike Wilcox tarot deck, which is actually an interesting tarot deck. It has the major arcana, and then it has some oracle cards, and then it has astrology cards. So I don't even know, I guess, well, technically it's Mike Wilcox tarot and oracle. So it's like partial tarot and partial oracle deck. Okay, so let's get 3 more cards here to see what else wants to come out in relation to this. I'm feeling this. We've got the tree. We've got the spider web. Let's get one more. Oops. Let's take that top one, and the cauldron. So a lot of the oracle cards coming out for you guys. Okay, and I am going to rely a little bit on the guidebook for this, because I haven't used this deck too often, just because, like, yeah, when I have to rely on the guidebook because there's like specific associations, it's hard for me to do that until I've really learned that deck and used it a lot in my personal life, and I just haven't yet. So we are going to tap a little bit into the guidebook. I'm not going to fully read each one, but just getting the idea of what the intention and associations are supposed to be. Okay, so the tree has life, home, shelter, wisdom, sanctuary, steadiness, earth. The tree calls us home to the safety and security of ourselves. The tree is our spiritual home, rooted in the earth and reaching to the heavens. It is the giver of fruits ripe with knowledge from above and below. Okay, so definitely something here about part of maybe like really understanding what you're supposed to be centered in and manifesting and holding purpose and dedication and responsibility in, is like knowing what feels like home to you, knowing what about inside of you have you tended to and nourished and nurtured, and that you know your home inside of you, you know yourself, you know your soul. And because of that, you could plant your roots anywhere. You could be anywhere in the world, and still be at home because you've deeply created a nourished inner life, a nourished inner sense of your soul, what you need, what your boundaries are, how you care for yourself, how you find depth in life, how you connect to life with more intuition and just a depth, like being connected to life with depth. There's something about your purpose that relates to that. Okay, the spider web is next. Let's see, XXX. Here we go. The spider web, energetic meaning, allure, entrapment, entanglement, held back. The spider web comes to illuminate where and what might be holding us back from feeling or doing our best. Yes, so this does clarify part of this mystery message, is that Spirit is talking about this kind of purpose, that it's bringing this message, I believe, because it feels like you're very close to sitting in this Temperance card, and that purpose and that flow and that awareness that it wants you to be centered in has something to do with a sense of home within yourself, but something's holding you back. It's like you're a step away from this. There's like a slight barrier that Spirit really wants to help you to see in order to really be able to center and step into this kind of way of being and centering. So the spider web comes to illuminate where and what might be holding us back from feeling or doing our best. The strands of the web can be made of words, notions, ideas, or beliefs. Examine what the reasons are that make you feel stuck in some area. These can be situations, ideas surrounding you, or just negative beliefs about yourself that hold you back. Reflect on whether or not those things are really true. Sometimes we trap ourselves. Sometimes we feel trapped by others. Sometimes we are the ones who have created a trap for someone else. A trap can be any scenario where someone is not set up for success. It takes careful examination to see what's what. Sometimes we hold others responsible when it is ourselves who have created the limitations. If that's the case, escaping will only lead you back to the same trap you escaped from. I'm reading more about this card just because it feels like the challenge you're supposed to see. And so we want to mine everything we can from this. So I'm going to even continue reading a little, like one more paragraph. If you feel stuck by ideas others have imposed upon you, the responsibility still comes back to yourself, for you are the one believing in it. Think of each negative thought as one strand in the web and challenge them with thoughts of positive affirmation and truth. Cut the cord one by one until you are free. And remember, these things are sticky, so it might be an ongoing challenge. And here's a mantra for you. I free myself from any negative ties that hold me back from doing my highest good. And your highest good is centering in a certain purpose of like really holding within you a certain depth and soul and sense of home within you, because you've really nourished that quality within you. So asking questions, that sun really kind of shone there, which makes that feel, whatever I was about to say, feel powerful. Really asking specific questions about what is holding you back right now around feeling at home in yourself and being able to hold that as a really deep purpose, with a deep awareness and a deep manifesting power within it. What are some ideas around you? What are some ideas within you? What are some circumstances around you? What are things that are, I would even pose here, like, what are some behaviors or habits currently that you are aware or unaware of that are kind of detracting from paying attention to your inner life and nourishing your deep inner world? what's like very distracting in the outer world in terms of comparisons, feeling a need to be needed, feeling a need to be seen by others. How can you cut those kinds of cords, those kinds of traps right now, and really ask what you need for you, how you can tend to yourself, and not in like a selfish way, in a way that like you're really strengthening your depth so that you can show up as a nourished, authentic being that then is just like a nourishing presence. There's like some work on yourself, I think, that Spirit is asking you to do so that you can show up in a way where it's not like needing to be anything, but you just are someone. You are something that is nourishing to be around, instead of sort of like grasping to belong somewhere or be seen in a certain way. It's like, do that for yourself. See yourself that way. Do for you what you need done. What are the boundaries you need? What's the nourishment you need? What can you do to make yourself feel more stable and rooted and grounded and centered from within, centered in your intuition and knowing what you need and what works for you, what's right for you, what's healing for you, what's beautiful for you, what are the energies you want to cultivate from within, instead of needing to find ways to center your energies by external factors, right? We all do this. You know, we all have moments where we have to wake up to like, oh wow, I've really come away from navigating life from within, and I'm like grasping at things or comparing things or longing to be like this person or be seen by the world in this way, or, you know, and it's just like, just do that for yourself, like work on doing that for yourself. I know that's easier said than done. But yeah, your soul is calling you inward and to start asking questions, noticing things that you can cut some cords of a lot of external influence right now. Okay, moving on to the cauldron. Let's see what this card adds to the mix here. Gotta find it first. There it is. Okay, the cauldron, the energetic meaning, alchemy, creation, intention, planning, change, fire, passion. The cauldron calls us to pay mind to the influence of what we do and what we say. We can consider the cauldron our relationship with whatever we are cultivating. It is the vessel of your thoughts and actions to evolve into your desired outcomes. A healthy relationship, success in business, emotional or physical well-being would each be their own cauldron. Consider that every thought we have about an aspect or situation in our lives puts energy into the outcome. So putting a lot of intention into that, my cauldron is about really knowing and centering and showing up in a way of being that's very aware and responsible and balanced in being a nourished person, in knowing my sense of belonging to myself and knowing my home within myself and cultivating, doing the work to make me feel at home in myself, make me feel at home in my own body, in my own inner world, in my own alignment of what my soul is, feeding this cauldron that is sort of soul making, soul tending, soul cultivating. So what do you know, this is really similar to a lot of the things I said about the spider web in terms of like what, like alchemy is happening right now. So what are you feeding this cauldron of home within yourself? What thoughts do you think about feeling at home in yourself? What actions do you take that foster and give nourishment to home within yourself? Think about it as like, that is, this home within yourself is a cauldron that you are actively feeding right now and is in an active alchemy at the moment. And that alchemy is working to bring you a certain centering and balance and way of being in terms of being at home in yourself and very soulful and centered in soul and intuition. So very cool. I love that imagery that came through with spider web and cauldron, like literally what cords can you cut from the external world to go more and more within, and how are the things you're doing to tend to that inner place? How can you visualize that as literally a cauldron? And knowing that the alchemy you're working on right now is working to bring you into this archetypal being of temperance, of ability to be balanced and aware and purposeful and elegant in how you hold your sense of soul and home within self. Really, really cool message, really powerful message there. Okay, we are going to move on to a different deck now. This is the Myan Oracle, and this deck holds a lot of different, so like kind of some archetypal energies, some cycle energies of different cycles within it, and some lenses. So we're going to pull two of these and see what comes out from the wisdom of this kind of Mayan kind of Tzolk'in energies is what this is, how it wants to add to this, what it wants to bring up in relation to cultivating soul. So we've got the eagle, and so that's one of the archetypes, or in this system it's called seal, like one of the seals. And so two archetypes, an auk, which I believe is the dog. I might have to look up that one real quick just to make sure I'm not telling you about the wrong cards. Well, I'll look at what kind of the keywords from the book say about both of them in general. Okay. Let's get to the eagle first. Yeah, auk is the dog, so I'll bookmark that. We'll get back to that in just a second. Let's see. Of course, that's like, here we go. Oh, interesting. Eagle and cobwebs, and we have webs up here, but let's see. It says commitment, compassionate service, global consciousness, dreams and visions, planetary mind, belief in oneself, hope. So this does bring like some illumination that I do think that part of you is really wanting to be in service to the world, like bringing vision, bringing hope, bringing a certain sense of belief into the world. So even though some of what we've talked about is a little bit like centering in self, it is in order to bring a more enriched self and a more nourished sense of self into the world, to bring vision for what nourishment means, what soul means, to be able to show up and bring a sense of hope and belief and vision into the world that is coming from a soulful place, or that is showing, being sort of like a model or something that holds visionary wisdom around soulfulness. So it's either bringing something into the world through a sense of soulfulness, or being able to be a guide and show how to find vision around creating soulfulness in the world. Okay, and then we have auk, which is the dog, and that's a lot about a sense of love. Let's see, heart, breakthrough, new beginnings, relationships, companions of destiny, emotional, body issues, recasting the past, spiritual strength, guardians and guides, authenticity, magnetizer, sorry. Let's see. Just reading one quick thing, but seeing if it is applicable. Yeah, okay, so the dog is a lot about love, but it is also about finding those right allies and those companions in life that seem to just like naturally being drawn into our orbit, like kind of soul connections, soul friendships, sort of, because it's more about allies rather than like a family feeling. So it's like soul friendship feeling. But because you're centering in like your authenticity, your sense of heart and love here. And I think I get the sense that this is saying what is going to come once you find that centering as temperance as your archetype. But the purpose of that temperance is like that balance and awareness of soulfulness and depth and home within yourself, love within yourself, reaching a deeper place within yourself. So what I feel like it's saying is like right now I think you are kind of centering in this eagle archetype, and you're working, or spirit's trying to help you to get a little bit more centered in the dog. So like there may be a little bit of sort of detachment right now, trying to find the vision of what you're trying to do. And I could see how this relates to needing to switch to that inner focus versus external focus, because the eagle is, even though it has kind of a visionary quality, it is kind of looking at the world, right? It's scanning what's happening below it. And so I feel like spirit is saying like, that's great to find vision, it's great to have awareness of the world, but in order for you to really get into where you're trying to go and where spirit is trying to help you to go, you need to maybe just like take a moment. I think you could return to eagle once you are actually in this temperance place. But in order to actually get to that place, it's more about getting into your heart, finding a sense of love. And I feel like because we're talking about inwardness, cultivating, part of what you need to put into that cauldron are actions, mantras, affirmations, self-speak. Oops, my microphone just dropped. Around self-love. And then once you get good at like those actions and ideas and thoughts and speak of self-love, then you can start to feel that naturally flowing out of you towards others. And so I feel like you will then bounce back into eagle. It's almost like you're trying to skip a step to like bring in nourishment to the world, but you're not quite nourished enough in yourself to be in that big kind of nourished energy for the world. And so it's like, get into dog, like out of eagle, out of like looking and trying to find that vision of how you're bringing soulfulness to the world. And holding like manifestation and balance and a grandness there, into really doing some deep work on your own sense of soul and inwardness and depth. And you may feel like you have that really well right now, or like you're doing a good job on that and you feel nourished, but spirit is saying like, because this is like a mystery message, sometimes things may feel a little counterintuitive, right? And it's saying like, keep going though. It's not time to be scanning and putting that work into the world, that nourishment into the world, because you're needing to go even deeper. And so pull back from like looking for vision and pull into your heart and feeding that cauldron with a lot of self-love that gets to the point where it starts overflowing into just love out in the world. And I think when, like, the key, because other things about the dog, there's a key with that will indicate when it's time to then more accurately step back into eagle, more in divine timing step back into eagle, is when you start to feel those soul friendships come into your life. That's when you know you've gone deep enough. When those soul allies, those soul friendships show up, then it's time to start looking at vision in the world, looking at vision of how to bring this soulfulness out of you in a visionary way, or how to use your nourishment to show what nourishment means, how others can find nourishment and a sense of home in self. Yeah, really beautiful. Okay, we are going to do a couple of other oracle cards. And for these, so the first one is the Medicine Heart Oracle, and I will definitely be tapping into the guidebook a little bit for this one. And then I will also use the Lightworker Oracle, and same thing, you'll be definitely tapping into the guidebook for both of those. But let's do our Medicine Heart Oracle first. And we have, let's see, that's such a pretty card. Honor Eluga of the Southeast. And it looks like there's, I don't know what kind of birds those are, kind of dove type birds. There's roses. She's holding like a joker. And then I'm not sure if this is like a, it's not a ferret, but it's some kind of, I'm sure the guidebook will say more about those creatures a little bit. Okay, so let's see what the guidebook says about these, this card and the little things in it. Let's see. Skip the page. Okay. I'm just gonna read the first, there's like a distilled paragraph at the start that I'm gonna read, and then I might just browse the book real quick to see what these little creatures, if there's any information on those as well. Okay, the shamanic call to the soul can be masked with a crisis requiring evolution. What? That's not even the full first sentence, but that's like, wow. Okay, let me read that again. The shamanic call to the soul can be masked within a crisis requiring evolution, as a problem to be solved and as a creative opportunity all at once. Yes, I love that, because my own association with the spider web is sort of like weaving something. So I feel like you're like taking down one web that's more of this entanglement association. But at the same time as you're doing some soul making, there's also this creative process of the cauldron of alchemy, but also maybe weaving a new web, like a new creation, right? Okay, be in the midst of the muddle with faith that although you may not yet see how, there is some greater benefit that will eventually manifest and ensure your soul's true progress towards its divine destiny. Let go of trying to figure it all out. That's the eagle. Let go of trying to find the vision and, get back into just heart. So let's see what it says here. Let go of trying to figure it all out and instead tune into what feels true for the current choice point before you. One step at a time is all that is needed. Wow, that is like, I mean, could there have been a more like in sync card, but that brought like another layer and level of depth around this soul work that Spirit is talking to you about here. Very beautiful. Okay, I just want to scan this for... Okay, so Eluga is really Esu, Elegbara, also known as Eluga. It's a being from the 5,000-year-old religious cosmology of the Yoruba from West Africa. Let's see. Eluga is the gateway to all things, from access to any other divine being to the beginning and ending of chapters on one's life journey. So you may be in like a little bit of a liminal space right now, like you're connecting into like ending one chapter and beginning a new chapter, and maybe that's why there's sort of this like trying to take the world in and get feedback from the world. That would make a lot of sense, and that's sort of like an intuitive thing to do. If we're like letting go of a chapter and we feel something else is coming in, there can be that seeking of like, well, what is that? What's coming? What am I supposed to be doing? And this is saying like, don't worry about that yet. Go within, seek within. Like there is, you know, this beautiful spiritual guidance around you that is kind of guiding this. Let's see, I'm just reading a little bit more about this. Being yeah, okay, well, let's move on. I feel like the main message about that being is sort of like this gateway to all things. And so it's sort of like live in possibility, but center in your heart. Like don't try to find the specific thing yet. It will come. Like the important thing to do is to find that sense of home within self. And when that, you know, and you're being helped in that, you're being ushered through, you know, maybe some crises, maybe some crossroads, but there is spiritual guidance around you. And it's just like one step in front of the other. Center in your heart, get at home within yourself. Don't worry about the big picture or what exactly this next chapter is. It's sort of like work on closing out the chapter you're in and really center in your heart to get at home within yourself for what is to come, so you can stand with a sense of balance and elegance and a certain sense of sort of power too, and awareness there. Okay, so we've also got lemur. So that's a lemur. I wasn't sure what that, I knew it wasn't, yeah, I was like, kept thinking of like a ferret or a weasel, but I'm like, I know it's not those. So lemurs are one of the world's oldest living primates, dating back over 60 million years, long before humanity. Most lemurs live in matriarchal societies, which is rare for mammals, where male dominance tends to prevail. Female lemurs lead social interactions, mark territory, and have been known to kick males out of sleeping areas and taking food for themselves. The soul medicine of lemur speaks to the tough love that the feminine wisdom sometimes demonstrates, and the need to let the feminine lead, which is that soul-making territory, is about nourishment and depth and needing to cultivate that in yourself first before you can lead with that, right? Be centered in that and bring, you know, external orchestration of that into the world too. Let's see. Okay, so lemur's understanding is ancient, for it is her divine feminine intelligence that has created era after epoch ending and rebirthing, reinventing, evolving, and expressing her creative potency in infinite vibrations and radical diversity. Like Eluga, the divine feminine demands that we cross the thresholds in our lives with a degree of consciousness and care. And yeah, that's what it's saying. It's like, tend to soul right now, tend to depth right now, tend to inner world right now, emotions right now. You want to be in this liminal space and crossing thresholds with like conscious care, right? In a nourished way. And just this next first sentence, actually I'm going to read a couple sentences here because they feel really powerful. The Oracle speaks of potential for an entirely new era in your life to open for you. Trust in what is ending, for simultaneously this is part of a new beginning. And this was like cutting certain cords in your life, and alchemizing new things, right? Very interesting. One more sentence that just poked out. Oh, wait, pigeons. We also talked about pigeons here. Pigeons have an intelligence that allow them to find their way home across great distances. Yes, this is a calling you back into yourself, back into the home that's within you. For thousands of years, pigeons have been trained as deliverers of important messages. Blah, blah, blah. Known as an individualistic bird, it requires sufficient space and skillful maintenance to be happy and thrive. So also giving yourself some space, I think, has been called here. The Oracle speaks of a need for heightened care of your soul at this time. I mean, yeah, that's what we've been saying. Okay, we are now going to move on to the Lightworker Oracle. See what this oracle can add into this mystery message for you. Master Hilarion is what came through, and I think this has a lot to do with like cultivating like beauty and harmony and positivity in your mind. But let me just double check and see if I can pull out a few things from the book here. Okay, your soul healing journey includes the exploration and development of the creative power of your mind. You are learning that as you change your mind, you can change your world. Wow. So some of like going into this new chapter, it's like almost wiping the slate of your mind clean, connecting into soul so that you can kind of transform and evolve your mind from a more enriched place, from that deeper home within you place, like returning home, really returning. You know, at the end of a journey, sometimes we have to reflect and integrate, and that's what this feels like. It's like integrating what a chapter has been that is closing out, and allowing that to help you dissolve a lot of notions and thoughts and beliefs, and kind of wiping the slate clean of mind, recentering in soul so that you can, kind of, I'll read the sentence again. You are learning that as you change your mind, you can change your world. Your mind is expanding as your soul heals and opens to the spiritual dimensions. At times, you shall penetrate the veil of illusions and be able to perceive the spiritual face of divine love smiling at you, even in the most apparently ordinary of physical world moments. When the mind is open, spiritual experience of the sacred can be found unexpectedly in unlimited and often unlikely places. As your mind continues to gently open, your soul gains conscious access to other dimensions, states of being, experiences, and insights. And so you will also need time to rest, integrating what you have encountered. Ascended Master Hilarion and Archangel Raphael bring you guidance and support to take the time to process your experiences so that healing change can then naturally unfold in your soul and in your life. So there is repeated call out that I think there are things that are ending, chapters that are ending, and you needing to take a lot of time to go within and assimilate and reflect and really integrate what has that chapter been about. Like, like a lot of journaling, a lot of sleeping, a lot of processing, a lot of things to kind of, this is like you're like in that winter phase, which is like the middle of the night when sleep is helping us to process and absorb into our long-term memory what we actually need, and just dissolve and get rid of all of the superfluous information that there was, and to assimilate things and to rejuvenate us and restore us and replenish us. And then you wake up in the morning with like a new slate, right? A new mind, a new slate, a nourished soul. So there's, just like a lot about something ending and something beginning, but some work needing to be done to kind of detangle from the past, reflect, integrate, really take care of yourself, get the rest you need right now, because a new spring is coming. But just like when you have a good night's sleep or a bad night's sleep, when that spring or morning comes, that's reflected in how well we worked to get a good night's sleep, how well we prepared ourselves going into sleep to be restful, to, like practical things. If you think about a good night's sleep as like no screens for a few hours before bed, no eating for a few hours before bed, what can you do to kind of move into your what am I trying to say, like the part of your nervous system that's more rest and digest, rather than kind of activated and ready to respond to things. It's like there are stretching things you could do, breath works you could do, rituals you could do, like maybe there's a certain herbal non-caffeinated tea and a book that soothes you, that like really helps to turn off the day. And so just as a metaphor, it's like, what are you doing right now to help you get into more restful states, to give your life a little extra space to breathe and extra space for decompression? These things matter right now. These things matter in helping an old chapter really integrate and weed out what wasn't what wasn't needed, what you're not needing to integrate about it, like that sorting process, that way of letting certain things go and integrating other things, and then just letting things be and resting in it and allowing for that more gentle flow to bring less friction, so that these ahas and breakthroughs happen. And really, really powerful stuff here. Okay, to end, we are going to get an animal message from the secret language of animals. Just kind of a parting thought here. And we've got the black cockatoo, herald, confidence, companionship, communication. And then I'll just pull out the book to see what this says. Companionship and that dog. There's a crossover there. So that does bring up maybe that need to reiterate that, like, when you'll know that new chapter or the timing is right to kind of move more out into the world, when those kind of soul alliances and companionships come in. Also a sense of confidence with the black cockatoo. Let's see. Okay. Just as cockatoo's call comes to announce the coming of rain, he screeches into your world now to herald the coming of a downpour of positive support to grow the seeds of your dreams to fruition. When the cockatoo calls, this is a moment to celebrate. The energy of your circumstance is shifting. Go with it. Trust the greatness that is rising in you. Move with absolute confidence. As you step forward in faith, the path will rise to meet you. Expect the very best and give yourself the gift of fully receiving it. The support you need may come in the form of external assistance or an internal epiphany. It may come in the realization of an ally or rich resource that you already have access to, ready to become an even more valuable companion on your journey. So I feel like this is the energy, kind of piggybacking off of the dog, of like knowing when that new chapter has arrived and how it will feel. There will be a sense of like companionship. There will be a sense of a nourished inner self and a certain strength that's coming up and a confidence rising, and that will be kind of your clue that like, oh, that new energy, that new chapter, the spring has arrived for me. And it does feel that black cockatoo and temperance do have a little bit of similar energy to me. She's just like standing in a certain confidence. She has a certain awareness. She seems to be, even though there aren't other people, it's just like in terms of companionship, it's just like things are flowing in and out of her peacefully, easily, with a certain strength coming through. And I feel like that is what you will feel. So you will feel the dog, you will feel the cockatoo, you will feel temperance. You'll be feeling centered in those things when this new chapter is starting to present itself to you. So take some time to decompress, to reflect, to detangle, to alchemize, and you'll know when it's time to kind of push outward. Don't push that until you know it, right? Into this new chapter coming. Don't force the chapter to be here. There's work to do first. Okay, this is where I'm going to leave you guys. Definitely big message coming through here. I hope it resonated. If so, I always appreciate support, likes, shares, subscribes. Always grateful for kind and thoughtful comments as well. And I wish you guys so much luck with, kind of this transition time and the coming new chapter as well. All right, see you in future readings. Hello, pile 2, the bell pile. I'll hold up your card a little more for you to see it. So this is your mystery message, and we are just going to sort of dive in and see what your message is about. So the bell holds definitely some kicking off point here. And in this deck, the bell has a lot to do. I'm going to pull out the book for this a little bit. Has a lot to do with harmony, peace, alignment, balance, and energy flow. So Spirit is bringing you a message about wanting to help you to find this. This card can talk a lot about, being able to notice when like our resonance is off, when we're not in alignment with ourselves, and what can we do to sort of detangle from things that are throwing us off balance, that are throwing us off from being centered the way we know we could be centered, from feeling like everything's sort of right within us and so right going on outside of us. And it's like, what are those things that are throwing your resonance off? Are they having to do with the mind? Are they having to do with, the work you're doing, with certain connections in your life? There's so many, there's a gazillion different ways in which our energy and alignment can be thrown off, and each of those things requires attention and conscious ways of like noticing it and noticing what it is we need to do to change it. And that's not always an easy thing, right? Because we are humans and we have attachments to certain things and have, you know, false beliefs about certain things. And so this is just saying it's like time to come back into yourself and just on an energetic level, like get out of your head, get out of your emotions, and really just notice resonance wise, like what is throwing me off? Okay, I've identified this area of my life, this circumstance is throwing me off, and why? What's the resonance there? What's not connecting for me? What's not aligning for me? And even if it feels hard to make changes that you start to feel when you ask those questions, Spirit's wanting you to take this really seriously. Let's see. I'm going to read a couple paragraphs, like short paragraphs here. So it can be a difficult cycle to do what I just talked about because one thing influences the other and quickly becomes a catch-22 where your body hurts and that makes your mind upset, that makes your body hurt. A frustrating maze of a place to find yourself. The way out of such a cycle is gentle, consistent, positive, and healthy behaviors as well as non-attachment to circumstances. It's all temporary. Have more fun and restore harmony to your being. Some things take time to grow and to create new, healthier pathways of energy, but also be open to the idea that you can feel better in an instant, right now, this very second. All can be aligned. That is the power you hold. So some mantras for you. I am healthy in my body. I am radiant in my soul. I am calm in my mind. I am grounded in my body. I am centered in my soul. I am happy in my mind. So this is sort of has a lot to do with the mystery message, but we're going to also get a lot more cards here. So that's our kicking off point. Let's get a few more cards from this same tarot and oracle deck to add into this. Ooh. Feel like that bottom one wanted to stay out, so let's keep it out. The Fountain, the Caverns. Let's get one more. And Magnetism. Oh, I love that. I love magnetism. I mean, just before I even get into some of the things the book might say about these cards, is I do feel like there's this thing that like when we are really in alignment with ourselves and resonating correctly and truly with ourselves, there is a magnetism around us. So already making that association that I think Spirit is trying to help you to get really right in your resonances internally and externally, because it sees you coming into like a real possibility of holding a certain magnetism. Okay, but let's see what the book says about some of these oracle cards. So we've got the Fountain first, which is three X's and three I's. It should be this, yes. Okay, so energetic meaning creation, center, life force, eternity, love, and water. The Fountain represents our internal connection with the source energy of the universe. It is the eternal flow of love and creation and the center of our inner world. When we connect to this, we are connected to all the power and abundance in the universe. It is the pinnacle of spiritual health and the embodiment of achieving perfect alignment to move in harmony with the universe. And I think you need to be in perfect alignment with yourself to know because there's like a true, like our resonance is true and clear when we're like that. And then that means that we then find that more true alignment with the flow of the universe, right? So it's like wanting you to get into like your absolute truth so that you can come more deeply into an alignment with something in the universe that's holding a lot of harmony for you right now. There's so much about harmony and resonance coming through, and it's like a sense, it's a subtle sense that you're being guided to really pay attention to. Okay, the fountain would stop giving no sooner than all the stars in the universe would burn out. Its energy is eternal, for the flow of the fountain is the flow of living energy of all that is. This next paragraph also feels important in context of what we've talked about with the bell. The simple truth is that the more negative emotions we harbor, the further from the fountain we become. In such negativity, we create for ourselves the labyrinth, which makes it harder and harder to find our connection to the pure spirit energy of the universe. The more positive, loving, and optimistic we are, the closer to the fountain we become, and the more freely its energy flows to us. Here's a mantra for you here too. I am in tune with the source. I am overflowing with abundance in love and creation. So that feels important. I am overflowing with abundance in love and creation. It's like, how can you hold the resonance of that sentence? I am in resonance with, I am overflowing with abundance in love and creation. How do you resonate with that right now? How does that feel like something you want to be true in your resonance? And what do you need to do to get there, right? So there may be a lot of, more internal things to tend to here in terms of like negative thinking or a certain sense of like hopefulness and belief in life, a certain sense of optimism. There certainly could be some external things in your life that aren't resonating and that are throwing your resonance off. But because of the fountain, I do think there's a lot of inner work being called here too. And for sure, I mean, we're all humans. We all come into periods of life where there have been difficult things, there have been challenges, and we can get into kind of spirals of doubt or negativity or anger or like whatever it is. But it's like like spirit here, your mystery message is trying to communicate something that like right now it's important to really, really consciously put effort into getting into like a more true, positive, hopeful resonance within yourself. We don't know why that is. Magnetism is coming. I think you need the magnetism for something. We don't know what that is yet. That's still a mystery. But let's go to the caverns, your next card, and see what else comes more clear through that. Let's see. 3 X's, I and V. I feel like I must have just skipped over that. Hold on. The caverns. So energetic meaning: mystery, darkness, depths of self, discovery, hidden treasure. I love this in relation to what this whole reading, this is a mystery reading. I think that there's something, this is giving a lot more context into like why you're needing to get right within yourself, is like where that fountain might take you when you get like really right in your own resonance and feel tapped into that sense of hope and abundance and flow and potential in life, it's going to take you deeper into yourself than you've been. You're going to really uncover aspects of yourself that haven't been uncovered yet. And that's what this is. We're like unpeeling the layers of an onion that is you. And we're coming into layers that are so much deeper than you've tapped before, but you have to get right in yourself first and then open up into that resonance with that beautiful, positive, loving, abundant flow of universe energy and source. And you're going to find something about yourself, hidden treasures about yourself, discoveries about yourself, your depths of yourself. Okay, so the caverns are home to some of our most profound treasures. This is also empowerment. Like really when we see certain sort of deep hidden resources we possess, we can really bring that up and out and use it in the world strategically to help empower our lives and ourselves. And that gives you magnetism too. Okay. Caverns are home to some of our most profound treasures. When we feel lows and upsets that leave us feeling lost or without a way back to a more empowered place, we are dealing with the energy of the caverns. There is a lesson in each fall we take, each low point, each upset. We must find this lesson, transform the caverns, and climb back out. When in the depths of the caverns, you may be feeling victimized. While some situations can very much be cruel and unfair, victimhood is a disempowering trap that does us no good. One way out is to find pride in the strength it takes to rise above it. This could be about why like your resonance is off. I don't know if something's happened recently that's been hard, it's thrown you off, and you're trying to climb back out of feeling sort of a sense of victimhood. That can be a really hard thing to do, for sure. Be proud of how strong you are to endure, to process, to rise above any and all situations, past and present. Take pride in the lessons learned. Take pride in the treasures gleaned. It is no small thing to choose love and strength in the face of darkness and adversity. Always remember, you are the light in the darkness. Don't allow the darkness to fool you into believing you need a light outside of yourself to see, understand you are the light. It is important to note in visualization, do not stare passively into your darkness. Go forth with a blazing torch. And be not afraid of what may lurk in the shadows. It's nothing you cannot transform. And a mantra here, I shine light on the darkest parts of my being and look upon them with love and understanding. So there's something about rising above certain things that have been potentially unfair, not falling into kind of a black hole of victimhood, of finding a way to be, either rise above or be the bigger person or overcome something so that you can look down on that victimhood or that unfairness and be like, I am no victim because I gained a strength from this experience. I actually found a layer deeper inside of me because of this experience. I feel much more empowered now that I went to a certain dark place, because that dark place allowed me to see some things that were hiding in my darkness. In a darkness I was thrown into, I found certain treasures, right? And I am completely strong enough to see what's in those dark places, to be in those dark places with a sureness that I know how to climb out, I know how to overcome, I know how to be strong, and I know how to find my own light in the darkness. But I think that you're finding a certain inner treasure, inner resource, a certain depth you also didn't know you possessed. And sometimes the gift of being plunged into some darkness is that you find those things that you wouldn't have found without those kinds of experiences. And it's really empowering. It really gives you a superpower. Yeah, really cool. Okay, let's find, because this magnetism has stuck out for me from the start. So I want to see what this guidebook says about it. So we have XLI. So I think that might be one of the last ones, close to last. Magnetism, energetic meaning, attraction, passion, tension, release, freedom, tribe, destiny, guides. On what we are magnetized towards. There is a natural flow to you when you are at peace and in harmony with the world. Harmony, again, finding a certain harmony with yourself, finding a way to get into right resonance, which we've gotten a lot more context now, could be really a difficult ask to do when you are trying to climb out of a certain darkness that came because maybe there was something that was unfair or something that happened to you, that was difficult. The ask to get into a right resonance from that is, it's may take time, process things, but just know that you're finding hidden depths and hidden mysteries you would not have found otherwise. You'll get there. It's like one foot in front of the other. I feel like this is encouragement that you will get back to this place to know how to do this, to know how to come into alignment, into a sense of harmony with yourself and life and the universe again. And it's partially because of what's happening right now, partially because of this cavern you've been plunged into. And when you do get back into resonance with yourself, hence harmony with the flow of source, it will be in a much more magnetic way than you have ever resonated, right, in the world. Okay. It may seem obvious, but the easiest way to gauge this is simply by what makes you smile. Take note of your feelings around situations. Sometimes we are terrified of taking a leap, but can't talk about it without smiling. Sometimes we may feel nervous or tense in a positive situation when growth needs to happen. That is why it is important to clarify your goals and dreams so that you can tell the difference between when something is wrong for you or a challenge you should rise to meet. Conversely, magnetism towards negative behaviors can be just as strong in some people, so you need to be discerning and have the strength to resist actions and situations for temporary gratification that may not be serving your highest purpose. Plan carefully and be rational. We can just as easily float towards the wrong things like a moth to a flame. Take some time to feel your intuition and follow your instincts to guide you on your own path. On what is repelled. When we are in a positive alignment, negative things will be repelled from our experience. But when there are wounds and we aren't in alignment, we can sometimes repel the wrong things. If there is something you know in your heart is good but feel a resistance toward, try to find the root of what might be causing it. On what is magnetized towards us, the law of attraction comes into play. What we think about and what we feel, we will attract more of it to us. So be mindful. It is very important to think and feel in alignment with the things you want. In practice, do your best to feel and embody the emotions you desire and what it would feel like to be living in the life you want. This is the key to begin attracting these things into your life. Wow, I could say some things about that for sure. Just recently, what kind of got attracted, like I wasn't seeking it, got attracted into my life, was like a scenario that put me back into doing something I had left behind because it was really hard on my body. And yeah, that's all I'll say about it. And it was like a reminder that I left that for a purpose, but something in me must have still been resonating with that. Like I hadn't processed it. I hadn't shut off an alignment with it to have drawn that into my life. And that was like a really good lesson learned of like, I didn't close that door well enough. Like I really don't want that in my life. And it helped me get right with it. It was an experience that, kind of put me in a flight or flight reaction for a whole week. That took a lot of processing. Like, yeah, I won't get into the depths of that, but, but I think, like I climbed out of that knowing that door had to be so much more tightly shut, that it just like I left doing a certain thing because of how difficult it was on my body. And like I knew that, so why did I, even though it was still like attracting to me, like why did I accept that attraction? But I got a layer deeper with that, right? Now I can like really close that door. So just a little bit of a metaphor there is like, for me, that was kind of a reminder thing. But for you, it could be something that plunged you in because it's a reminder and like confirmation. Even maybe you need confirmation about shutting off alignment with certain things. So for some of you, it could even be like relationships. There's so many stories about people having these yo-yo relationships where they go back time and time again to certain patterns they know are bad for them, but there are these certain alignments and attractions. And so you may be going like a level deeper with that to be like, nope. Yeah, like that's I know something so much deeper now. For others of you, this may be like a new experience and a new thing that's happened to understand what you're attracting into your life and what is and isn't working about that. But I do feel like an intense experience either has or is about to happen. I feel like for most of you, it probably has happened, and you're kind of detangling that and pulling yourself out of that hole of like, what was the resonance that brought this thing into my life that created such a difficult, cavern experience? And what have I found out about myself because of being taken there, that I know on such a deeper level now that I can shut that resonance off and come into a much more true resonance. I do feel this thing of like, there is, whether it's a new thing or something you've gone back to, there is this confirmation, like something you've questioned, like, would that be something I'd like, or did I shut that out of my life too soon? Those types of questions, and like whatever was experienced may be that it's like an ultimate confirmation of like, oh, well, I'm glad that I tested that out because now I'll never, have that question living within me of like, I never did try that thing or really try with that relationship or try with whatever. And like, it's a lingering question, and it's sort of like, you're empowered now in knowing exactly that that question can be turned off now. Like, it's not something you'll ever have to wonder about again, right? Yeah, so coming into the right magnetism, the right harmony and alignment with what's true for you, and knowing that on such a deeper level, and that helping you, that knowing is a power that then has you overflowing and really connecting into the flow of the universe without questions and doubts, right? And that then bringing the right magnetism, the right attraction to the right things, and the right repelling of the things that aren't right. So this is all about that resonance, that attraction, that harmonizing, and that trust in the flow, because there's such a deeper trust in yourself now. Really, really cool. Okay, let's get, now we are going to do another oracle deck to go a layer deeper here. We're going to tap into the wisdom of kind of like Mayan cosmology and their version of, I don't know that they would call it astrology, but it's sort of an astrological or timekeeping type system. Okay, so let's see what comes up from this wisdom system. This is breath and spirit. I love that. Oh, wow. And so in this system, there are like seals, like S-E-A-L, like a seal, but they're like archetypes. And there's 13 of those, or there's 20 of those. And then each of those seals could be in a different resonance, and there are 13 resonance. So 13, which is the resonance that came out here, is like the universal one. It is knowing something on such a deep, like tapped into universal flow here. And then this seal is all about the breath of spirit, all about being connected to being like a channel to being able to receive inspiration, being able to receive guidance, being able to tap into the flow of things, and in a way where you are very surrendered because you've come into this place of ultimate trust. And so I do think this is indicating that as you work, I mean, I do feel like you're still maybe a bit in this cavern, but you're coming closer. I feel like this is spirit, this mystery message is saying, like, keep going, doing what you're doing, processing what you're processing, because all of that is helping you to come into this more empowered and true alignment with yourself, hence a real trust in and openness to the flow of the universe, and attracting and repelling what is perfect for you. And you'll know when that is here because you are going to be having downloads and messages and inspiration just flowing from you. This feels like a real artist quality. It's like you're going to be coming into this flow of just I don't even know, like sometimes there aren't, like energies are so spiritual that there's like not really words for it, other than just, it's like the breath of life and flow. And you know, this 13th tone also holds frequency shifts. It's where we transcend from one level to another. So I think that there are very spiritually centered messages, downloads, manifestations, creation coming into your life that are creating all sorts of frequency shifts for you. And it's because you're coming into this just such deeper and more powerful knowing of what is right in you, what is for you and what isn't for you, what aligns with you and what doesn't, and making peace with that. Sometimes we have to make peace with that, right? Sometimes really discovering who we are can be hard because that shatters some illusions we may have had that were like glamorized or something. And you're just knowing yourself in a much more self-accepted, at peace with who you are, and paradoxically that opens the universe to you. That opens a flood and flow of transcended reality and beauty and harmony and so many gifts coming to you, and this deep inspiration coming to and through you, and just a surrendered state into it all. And it's just beautiful. So it's like, all I can say is keep going, rise above, know that you're finding a deeper sense of yourself, a more empowered sense of yourself that's helping you to get into a greater alignment with the truth of yourself. It's so amazing. Okay, we're going to get a few more oracle cards that I will be tapping into the guidebook for. So this first one is the Medicine Heart Oracle. Let's get one card from this. In pile one, this card, like the card that came out from this pile, just nailed, nailed the message. It was kind of crazy. Okay. Wow, it's taking a while to get this one. I'm feeling this card though. Shaman's Mirror. Beautiful. Okay. 34. Okay, a pause to reflect lengthens that magical moment of liberating potential that occurs between action and reaction. In that moment, there is precious power to halt karma in its tracks. To access such karma-clearing potency, slow down and look deeper. The dynamics happening around you are veiled pathways to better understand the dynamics within you. I mean, what I was saying about the cavern and trying to articulate really came through in that sentence to me. The dynamics happening around you are veiled pathways to better understand the dynamics within you. You really are coming to know yourself better through something you're going through right now in a way that you haven't quite tapped yet, and it's really amazing. Okay, be patient and contemplative to understand what is taking place, what belongs to another, and what belongs to you. Only then can you realize what is being asked of you at a spiritual level. There is an empowered inner response to an outer trigger that will bring you peace while simultaneously... Sorry, I am not reading that correctly. There is an empowered inner response to an outer trigger that will bring you peace while stimulating wise action on your part. Yes, so the cavern you may be experiencing currently, something that's taking you into new kinds of depths that might be hard. This is saying take a moment to pause. There's maybe some processing you need to do before you respond to something here. This does indicate there's maybe some kind of response needed. And I don't know if that's like a response to how you're aligning yourself, what you're aligning to, like an inner response in life, or a response to something outside of you, but it does kind of say an outer trigger. So a response to something maybe in your environment does feel likely for most of you. But there's something like pause for a minute. I think something's still processing. I think you're still finding those deeper layers of self. You're still finding certain things that have been hidden in your psyche that you might need to confront and witness. There's certain depths you're still kind of in. You're still maybe finding your inner light in that dark place. And it's like if you respond too soon to that external trigger, it might not be like result in having been like wise action. Like there may be unwise action that results if you respond too early. I'm going to read part of this over again. Be patient and contemplative to understand what is taking place, what belongs to another, and what belongs to you. Only then can you realize what is being asked of you at a spiritual level. There is an empowered inner response to an outer trigger that will bring you peace while simultaneously stimulating wise action on your part. Yeah. So give this a little patience. I think you'll know, because of this spirit, this breath, and this kind of inspiration. I think you're going to have and we have a hummingbird here too, which is like the heart speaking to us, and spirit, like a spiritual heart-centered energy with that hummingbird. And Rose is very heart-centered energy as well. So I think there will be like an inspiration. And this is like, that hummingbird is right in front of her eyes. I think it will be very clear to you when it's time to respond to that outer trigger. And it will be coming from a much more heart-centered place, because you will have gotten into much more depth, much more wisdom, much more empowerment of knowing what you are supposed to understand right now from wherever you're at. Yeah, so I feel like the main message here is like, give this a beat. There will be the right timing to respond to something that's triggered you into the cavern, but it's not quite yet. Okay, let's get this Lightworkers Oracle card. Grounding. Yeah, I love that. Get the guidebook for this. I mean, already without reading the guidebook, it does feel right. Like if you're in sort of a deep place, processing things, getting into layers deeper than you've been inside of yourself, it's like grounding is a really great way to give, toxic and dark and hard energies back to the earth to be recycled, to let go of things, to feel safe too. Definitely something that would be important if you have been plunged into a darkness, is to find a sense of feeling stable and safe. That's really important. Okay, so 15, let's see what the book says though. Okay, you love and long for the free and open spiritual dimensions of light, yet your soul yearns for feel, touch, and embrace, yet your soul yearns to feel, touch, and embrace sacred healing beauty in forms of sound and color. Your deep freedom-loving soul was designed to take delight in joy, beauty, and comfort, expressing those qualities in this world to help all beings, to increase your spiritual capacity to revel in joyful grace. You need grounding. Without it, your soul cannot become strong, steady, and open to receive and radiate the nourishing, divine field of love, light, and happiness you wish to experience for yourself and share with others. Your dreams want you just as much as you want them. Grounding helps you bring your dreams to life in your world, which is where they want to be. I feel so much that, just like I felt with this breath card and this 13th universal tone coming out, that this grounding is hinting at that, like, so much beauty and love is preparing to come out of you. But I do think it's sort of like, when we're plunged into a difficult thing, into our cavern, into a dark, difficult place we have to rise above or climb out of, it's like coming back home to ourselves can be hard. It can be hard to trust coming back into our own energy, because something about our own energy may have led us to that cavern, right? So this is saying just like gentle, slow, persistent practice in coming back to your body. Do things that ground you. Do things that make you feel safe. Do things that make you trust yourself, right? There could be, or that trust, if that doesn't apply, for some of you, I feel like trusting yourself might be part of it. And for others, it might be like trusting people or circumstances around you. It's like really pay attention to, because we're talking a lot about resonance and harmony. What resonates to you as safe? Who resonates to you as safe? What practices resonate to you as safe and grounding and allowing you little by little to come back into yourself, right? When you start to feel more grounded and safe in your presence, in your embodiment, in the tangible, practical 3D world, and starting to find that beautiful and inspiring and whatnot, I think you'll know that you're also coming to that place of having found your light in the darkness, having found that way to overcome or rise above, and coming into this timing to respond to an external trigger. You'll be in a much more beautiful, safe, embodied feeling energy. And not only will that be that giving you that timing of the response that you're feeling is needed, but it will also be the timing of showing you when you are really in that right resonance with yourself, really opened to the breath of spirit and universal flow and creation and trust in life. Yeah, really beautiful. I love this grounding coming through because there has been like a lot of spiritual insight about, flow and trust and alignment and harmonizing. And this really kind of brought it home of like, and also you really need to be feeling like you're safe to feel grounded, you're safe to be embodied, you're safe in that 3D concrete world. Without that, spiritual energy can feel very flighty and very unsafe, right? So it's like a really beautiful, harmonized reminder that of the yin and yang of this all, that like not only are you trying to tap into like these subtle things of resonance and trust in spirit and flow of source, but like safe in this 3D concrete world again too. Okay, last card we are going to do from the animal realm. We'll just get a message for you from the secret language of animals. Koala, calm, perspective, imagination, and ease. I love this. Because I do feel like something that is part of whatever this message has been about is like bringing you a new sense of perspective about yourself and life and what's right for you and wrong for you, and a certain calm, easy centering in that, which opens up to a flood of imagination and possibility for really, really knowing what is and isn't right for you now, and like a sureness, a deeper, much deeper sureness and deeper understanding of that. Just read a little bit from this. So, moving through life at a similar pace as the great panda, koala brings the deep gift of calm and ease in a unique way, for he calls us to recognize ourselves as a catalyst for awakening these qualities in others. Koala says you have a great opportunity and responsibility to be a source of peace and positive perspective to the world, not by preaching or forcing your opinions on others, but by simply embodying these deep values to such a degree that they radiate from your presence, positively impacting the energy fields of others. Recognize that wherever you are a center of influence in the greater tribe. Your words and actions are important, but the energetic undercurrents of how you show up and who you are being on a moment-to-moment basis has perhaps the greatest impact on the outcome of your endeavors and the effect you have on others. Koala says it's not so much what we do, Koala does very little, but the energy we bring to it that matters most. It keeps going back time and time again to, this resonance, right? This, the energy we bring, the energy we're aligned with, the energy we understand, what we are open to and not open to, what we're imagining and weeding out, right? It's beautiful. I think this koala is showing like when you've really done this work and when what's happening around this message has really like come into fruition of what you're supposed to get from it. You're going to really understand the wisdom you hold and the resonance you hold and the alignment and openness and surrender you hold, and how that is something that's very looked up to. I think you've probably been someone who's been through this kind of pattern before, because there's something coming through here for me, that this koala holds a little bit of your essence archetype. I do think that you do have this kind of perspective that others look up to. And it's because you're willing. It's like you're open enough and willing to resonate with things that you have questions about and are scared of. You're willing to experience life. You're willing to go on journeys that are hard. And it's allowed you to build up a lot of wisdom and perspective, but it also means you've been on journeys that have, taken you to certain depths that maybe not everyone in life is willing to go to, right? So this message is also saying something about who you are, not just something you're going through right now, but it's saying something about your character, that you're a really amazing perspective holder, but in order to be such, you're also willing to experience life to its fullest, really, to try out resonances that you're curious about, right? To experience life, to try on different ways of being in life and being you, and throwing yourself into challenges. And I think it's beautiful, but it also means that sometimes you might get in over your head or experience things that are hard and triggering, and but ultimately they give you this beautiful, calm perspective and a sense of imagination in life. So you've got this. I feel like you've been through similar things before, potentially, because now I'm seeing this as something about your archetype. But each time you reach a depth, you reach a quality, a certain insight into yourself and life that you maybe didn't realize you could reach. And it's courageous, and it's beautiful, and it's really powerful. So just hang in there. All right, good luck with this. I believe in you guys. If this did resonate, was helpful, all that, I do appreciate support, likes, shares, subscribes. Always grateful for kind and thoughtful comments as well. And I wish you guys all of the beauty and love and adventure on what you're going through and this message. And I will see you in future readings. Hello. hello, Pile 3. Welcome to your mystery reading. I'm so excited to dive in and see what comes through you. Having gone through Pile 1 and 2 now, it's like, these are really deep, interesting messages and certainly feel mysterious in nature, but profound, like really interesting things. So, to kick off, you guys picked the 3 doors, so we're going to pull out the guidebook for this tarot oracle deck to get just some key information. I probably won't read all of the interpretation from the book, but just getting a sense of what the associations with this card are to kick us off into what your mystery message is about. So the 3 doors, energetic meaning is reaction, choices, views, relationship with the world, positive, negative, neutral. The 3 doorways appear before us to illuminate our accountability for the choices we make and where they lead us. Each day, each hour, each moment, we have a choice on how we want to be in the world. Every moment that calls for a reaction is an opportunity to choose a positive, neutral, or negative door. Every reaction we have to words, situations, or energy will lead us further in an energetic direction. One path taken many times will lead far away from that direction. Choose positive over and over, and you are far on the positive side, and it would take a lot more of something to pull us back to a negative state. The same if we continue choosing the negative doorway, we will end up deeper in that realm, and it will be much harder to get back. The further in one direction we are, the more momentum we have, and the more likely we are to stay in that state. So this does have a lot to do with like accountability in terms of how we respond and react to life. And so that's sort of a very general thing coming through that this mystery message will pertain to. We don't know yet if it's about something specific or more like staying in a more general territory, but we are going to pull a few more cards from this tarot oracle deck to investigate this a little bit more. Got demons, interesting. Libra. That's the first astrology card that's come out in these more kind of confirmation type cards, and the Emperor. Oh, very interesting. Pile 1 and Pile 2 only had oracle cards come out in these. So I love seeing you got an oracle, an astrological, and a tarot card come out. So that is interesting in terms of there being like also these 3 kinds of doors, and it's like we also have that mirrored in like the 3 different categories that this oracle deck holds. That's fascinating. I don't know what that means, but that did pop out to me. So let's get a little bit into some of these cards. So demons, energetic meaning, darkness, shadow, impulsiveness, lust, self-loathing, negative patterns and habits. Who is steering the ship? Insecurity, fear, self-doubt, vices. I believe this is coming out because Spirit wants you to be very aware of like how certain we all, and I'm not like trying to call anything out in anybody coming to this reading. I think anyone has the capacity to choose this reading. We all have demons. We all have the ability to have, all the things I just said: darkness, shadow, impulsiveness, lust, self-loathing, negative habits and patterns. Who's sharing the ship? Insecurity, fear, self-doubt, vices. We all have those demons. Every single one of us has all of those demons. But in this mystery message, for whatever reason, Spirit is wanting you to pay really special attention to choices, responses, and reactions you have in life that are sourced from this terrain, that are coming from this place of, fear and attachments and all the things I just mentioned. And then going over to Libra from that, it's saying that, I think a greater balance is needed. I think there's it's not quite a humorous note here from Spirit, but it's a very flexible attitude coming from Spirit, is saying we're human. Yes, we all are going to make some decisions from this place. We can only do our best and become more and more aware and more conscious of doing that, but we're never going to be perfect with that, right? We're humans. We're not gods. We're not perfect beings. And so I feel like this Libra card is coming in to say that there's not an expectation from Spirit that you have to be perfect here, but there is something coming through that's saying right now in your life, you need to pay more attention to this. It's there's an imbalance here, too many choices, responses, reactions are coming from this from these little demons that we all possess. There needs to be a little bit, and that even moves me over to the Emperor really quick. There needs to be a little bit more confidence and self-determination and positive action, more action based on choices and responses based on knowing what you want, knowing what's right for you, knowing your intentions, knowing your own agenda. That actually gives me perspective with Emperor and Libra, because in some ways these do hold opposition, because the Emperor is ruled by Aries, which is the opposite energy of Libra, where Libra is very concerned with give and take and fairness, and Aries is very concerned with personal agenda and centering in themselves. And so this demons is coming up to show there's a balance that needs to be found here. And I feel like there could be two categories of people coming here then, that some people may be making decisions out of not feeling trusting of themselves, not knowing what they want from themselves, not feeling very centered in themselves. Whereas some people may be making decisions that are more self-serving, that are more unaware of others, unconcerned with impact on others. And it's ultimately there needs to be some kind of balance. And I feel like this is giving context to maybe more specifically what these demons are, is a sense of trust in self and trust in others. Where is that off? Is one or the other two-weighted? Are both of these a little off for you? Are you centered in one and not paying enough attention to the other? But ultimately there's this theme of trust, though. What kind of trust and confidence do you have in yourself? Is that not very present and making you fearful and making decisions based on what others expect or what others are doing in comparison? Or the opposite, are you really trusting of yourself but don't really trust others to handle things, and so micromanage or dominate, or whatever it is, and not kind of holding a fear and a distrust in others and taking it all on yourself. So there's something here that I feel this mystery message is wanting to bring to your attention that like some negative doors might be too weighted right now in terms of like how your trust in self and others is balanced right now. You know, like yeah, what kind of choices are you making out of fear when it comes to trust? Trust in self or trust in others? Where is there some fear around that right now? What were some of the other demon keywords? Because I feel like I'm, yeah, this thing, who is steering the ship? That steps out a lot right now. How are you making decisions right now in terms of like an overweightedness in who is steering the ship? Are you letting others steer the ship too much and just kind of following in choices others are making, which is taking you too far away from yourself because you're following somebody else's path? Or are you steering your ship so deeply into your own agenda that you're not seeing kind of impact you're making on others? So I don't know why, like fear around trust in self and others, as well as paying attention to who's steering the ship and how that's either impacting you going too far away from yourself, or it's impacting others negatively in ways you're not totally seeing. So some balance. Yeah, this message is coming through to help you find a greater balance, and it's not expecting you to be perfect. That's not what this is about. This is just about finding a greater balance, finding a deeper association with trusting self and others, and a balance in that, and a balance in who's steering the ship here, and some give and take in that, right? So very interesting message coming through, and feels somewhat straightforward. I mean, I don't know, I shouldn't say that yet because these are mysterious messages, and I feel like if I say that, we'll be given a curveball. Okay, we already had 2 cards jump out from this deck before I could talk about what the deck is. This is a Myan Oracle, kind of tapping into the Tzolk'in, which has in that Mayan kind of sort of, it's like a timekeeping system, but there's like astrological elements to their own, you know, not like Western astrology, but there's like, you know, like archetypes and different resonances in it. So we're going to tap into that wisdom system to see what else it would kind of add to this message. So we have dreamer and dreamed, and then the 5th resonance, which is kind of the power and center of things. Dreamer and dreamed. I have things I would say about that, but I want to look in the book before I put my own spin here. Here we go. So dreamer and dream, destiny. So this is a lens in this system. So destiny, personal dreams, synchronicity, mosaic of meaning, the larger dream, conscious dreaming, or conscious dreamer, networker, connector, imaginal cell, myth maker. Your personal dream is unfolding. You are the dreamer revealing the dream. Be present, be aware, remember that you are the ancient sage who carries the wisdom of lifetimes into this moment, and that this dream offers you the opportunity to merge all that you have been and may become. Time and space are folding. Stop and feel the interweaving of threads in the new dream. Be aware of potent dreams, chance meetings, catalytic books, and unusual encounters as you recognize these threads from the larger dream. An existing tapestry of meaning and purpose emerges. Wow, this brings a lot about like a general awareness of what's going on in life around you, because something is actively connected into what you are dreaming. And so this does bring this importance back around to like who is steering the ship in terms of like decision making in your life. And it's saying that like you need to be really aware that you are like a dreamer right now. And things that you're dreaming are responding and co-creating with you. So you need to be really clear about your agendas and your intentions and what it is you want in life, because you're actively standing in this Emperor archetype. It's time for like a new sense of order in your life. And so are you taking control? Are you taking the reins in that? Are you taking control of that? And so in terms of what we said about who's steering the ship, I do feel in the context of dreamer, it's saying like a little bit more focus on what your dream is needed right now. Like you may be kind of following someone else's ship, or just like unsure of what you're supposed to be dreaming or what your dream is. And it's like, this is saying spend some time to get clear about that, because like you are in this dreamer. There's a lens right now in your life where you are the dreamer. So you need to be really clear about what you're dreaming and being assertive with that and knowing what you want to do with that and actively molding that, right? So steering your ship. Not saying you shouldn't notice how that impacts others. There is that balance needed, but I do feel like this is bringing context. The emphasis here is like you need to be steering your ship more so right now. And that even gets driven home with the fifth resonance coming out here, the fifth tone, because that is kind of like a Leo tone in a way. It's sort of like taking the lead, showing your power. It's time for you to take command of things. Again, not at the expense of others where you're, there's still this awareness, like how you impact people. You can, massage and tweak your agenda when you can see that it might have negative impact around you. But you still need to know what your agenda is and where you're steering and taking control of that and really using your power as the dreamer right now, because it's a really potent time. Anytime that lens is fixed to us, the dreamer and dreamed, it's like you're actively creating your life at the moment. And so you need to be present to that. And so the dreamed is responding to what you're dreaming through these synchronicities that this card talked about. Like, notice messages coming to you, notice synchronicities coming to you. They're mirroring things to you that you need to be aware of. They're mirroring to you what you are dreaming. Sometimes we're not always aware of what we're dreaming, but the world is trying to mirror that to you, or the universe is trying to mirror that to you, like really holding up a mirror, like, this is what you're dreaming right now. Is that actually what you want? You can tweak it. You have a minute to tweak it. But I'm holding up that mirror, so you can't say you aren't accountable for what gets dreamed here, because I'm showing you what you're dreaming. It's so interesting that there's almost like this lecture tone coming through, and I don't like getting into that because I'm not like a lecturing person. But I think it's only because like it's so important right now. Like, this is happening right now. And so it's like, hey, this isn't something where you have time, where it's something you can process. Like, this is happening right now. So get present. Notice what's being mirrored to you. It's really helping you to see what you're dreaming and how you're steering your ship. And because it's mirroring things to you of what you're dreaming, there's no way around accountability for what you dream right now. So really own your power, be present, do whatever you can to get clear about what it is you're dreaming. Try to come from places that are positive, not fear-based. Yeah. So in this book, the center card, it says, through the star portal, glide and soar, foundations dance at Apple's core, hand of man and spirit's door. So core purpose, central intent, foundation, place of centeredness, simplicity, Acceptance of your humanness. I love that. It's saying, yeah, you don't have to be perfect. There's no expectation of perfection here. Get rid of that. There is humanness. There is flexibility given to you by spirit in the universe for humanness. It's okay. Don't try to get things perfect. But know what you're centering in. Know what your intent is. Connect to things that feel like they give you a sense of purpose or that tap you into some kind of purpose. And I love the message that came through of like simplicity. Keep it simple, right? You don't have to have like this whole map and knowing of how everything's going to turn out. Like, keep it simple. Where's your heart calling you? What do you desire? What are you longing? How can you be conscious of that and steer based on those things that at least you know the next step in front of you and are conscious of it and are steering that, right? Really cool. So I do feel like this is like urgent message for you guys. Okay, so moving on, and it's interesting, your reading is going more quickly than the first two because I feel like it's just kind of like, I don't have time to dilly-dally, right? Like, you've got things to do. You don't have time to listen to an hour-long reading. So let's get through this. Like, I feel like Spirit's almost like you've actually given them what they need. So, like, just, I don't know, like, I might just really kind of read the messages on these next two cards that come out from the book and kind of let you interpret them instead of rambling on about my own messages coming through. I kind of feel Spirit saying, like, read the message, let them take it and do what they will with it. They've gotten the main meat of what they need. This is funny. I've never had that kind of message come through where Spirit's almost annoyed with me, like, get on with it. Okay, and I'm actually going so much faster in your reading than the others. Back off, Spirit. Okay. You got Song, so this is from Medicine Heart Oracle. Song of Sangoma. Within the spiritual power center of the throat chakra dwells your creative healing potency of voice, choice, vibration, and resonance. Choice here, so interesting. Honoring the significance of your words and choices is the path to activating your creativity and opening the generous flow of higher guidance, inspiration, and healing energies that want to manifest in your world. The dreamer and the dreamed is here, and the choices, like, what is happening? This card is so, like, yeah, I don't need to add my own things, but I'm just shocked, like, how right on this message is. The Oracle acknowledges a potential within you that is worth the time and effort necessary to develop it. The choice is yours. What is happening with choices here? The choice is yours. To set priorities, tune into your heart, and seek out your soul voice. There are healing songs that your soul yearns to sing. Only you can give yourself permission to set your voice free. Many will benefit if you do so. Wow. I mean, that really tapped into what kind of got decoded here, that it's like you really need to steer your ship right now and be aware of choices you're making because, yeah, there is like an activating creative energy that is manifesting things very actively in your world right now. So it's like, pay attention, be clear, make very intentional, positive choices. You're steering the ship right now. You're creating your reality right now, like very actively and very clearly. So just be really conscious of that. It's basically reiterating things we've said, but like in a very beautiful, I don't know, that message, added depth to this all, right? Okay, Lightworker's Oracle. Let's see what this Oracle wants to share here. This is the card that's on the cover of the guidebook. Interesting. Higher Knowing. Okay, card 42. Let's see. Okay. The quality of higher knowing is an expression of intelligence manifesting through the fifth ray of intellectual knowledge. This spiritual ray of energy flows from the center of the universe toward your soul as a spiritual gift. You are empowered with the ability to recognize the information you need to understand the systems that affect your soul's journey and distill clarity in any issue that has seemed unclear or overwhelming to you. The right knowledge at the right time is a powerful support for human evolution. Your intuition will support your intellectual mind in discerning the true quality of information and applying it intelligently in your life for the best outcome. The Archangel Raphael now assists you in integrating the blessing of the fifth ray. Any questions you now ask shall be answered in a timely manner through the gift of higher knowing. I love this. This is a very, very direct message about how to get into control and into this Emperor archetype where you are really taking the reins and creating the order you want with a clear knowing. This is saying that any questions you have, any confusion you have, any lostness you have, you are actively being helped with that. All you need to do is like really clearly ask the question you need answers to, and it will come to you. Like you won't have to use your mind. You won't have to puzzle things out, dig deep in your psyche. Like there's something very clear happening right now. The minute you're unsure of a step you're about to take or a choice you need to make, ask the questions where you're not clear. Wait for the answer to come to you. It's going to be given to you. It will come to you. You don't need to figure it out. So there's really, really powerful, active, simple help coming to you for this, for what's being shown to you with this mystery message. So that's such an amazing, because that was one thing that like I was worried about. I'm like, it's so easy to say like be conscious of being the emperor and being this active dreamer and manifesting, because it's like sometimes we don't always know what we want. And so if things are actively manifesting off of what we're putting out into the world and we don't know what we want, that's like, that's scary. And so this brings a lot of reassurance to some things I was already sort of like, oh, I hope who comes to this pile knows what that is for them, what they want. So this is just saying that like, even if it's at that huge fundamental level of not even knowing what you're wanting to manifest, ask to know. Say, form the question of like, I want, how can I know what it is I want, right? How can I get clear about what I want and wait for the answer to come? Keep the questions simple and the answers will be as simple. But this is just saying that like whatever level, maybe it's a more subtle thing you have questions around. It could be that fundamental level or it could be more subtle, but whatever it is, the help is there to help you steer your ship with intention and direction and clarity, right? And to make those choices that are coming from like a place of command and power and knowing. Really, really amazing. Okay, last card. We are going to get a message from the secret language of animals. And we have Dugong. Trust, grace, mystery, and humor. I love humor coming up again because like that thing of like not expecting things to be perfect. I don't expect you to be perfect. The universe doesn't expect you to be perfect. You're human. There's kind of a humor in that sometimes, right? Like be light about the things that don't go perfect, for the flaws you have, for the mistakes you make. Find humor in it, right? It's all a learning journey. Okay, so let's see what the message from Dugong is. which I think is like a relative of like a walrus, but I think more ancient or something. I don't know. Here we go. Trust, grace, mystery, humor. As an ancient bridge between the realms of land and sea, Dugong honors the woven wisdom of your physical body and your heart. For Dugong, the key to survival is not fight or flee, not to chase or hunt, but to move with grace and ease, calling and allowing that which is needed to come to you. This is like directly referencing what we talked about with your higher knowing card. Like, ask the questions. What do you need? What do you need to know? What are those direct, clear things that you can call in and allow to come to you? Dugong's message is to slow down, breathe deep, and take time to be. With Dugong, more is achieved through less effort. I love that, because I was getting this thing of like, hurry it up. We don't have time. Things are happening right now. But this is helping to bring some centering back, that sometimes when you allow like that impulsivity or impatience that like that emperor archetype might sometimes hold, there's more likely to be some impetuous decisions that can be clumsy, that you have to go back and redo. And this is saying like, find some centering, breathe. This is all like the terrain that you're in with this manifesting and bringing kind of like new dream and new order is very simple and very clear territory. Don't make it complicated. Don't make it complex. Find your centering. Keep it simple so that things can go at a right, calm pace. Okay. And yeah, it's like you can attract things to you, just like you can attract answers to you. You can attract, there's very magnetic energy when there's like a new order coming in. And you can just allow things to come to that magnetic energy when you have a clear intention. So keep it simple and stay centered in your knowings and allow things to come to you. So allow the feminine power within you to sing a song into the waters, summoning that which you require and desire most. Action may still be required, but first find your place in the moment with an aim of doing from a higher state of being. I love that, coming back to that balance of yin and yang here. It's like, use that yang to know the intention, the clarity, the direction, and then use the yin to then center in that and allow things to come to you with that clear, sharp knowing. With Dugong, no matter how busy you seem to be, know that there is always time to do what is most important. Take time to honor those you love. Celebrate the gift of children and embrace your role in nurturing the spirit of those younger than you on the path. Rush nowhere and you will find yourself everywhere you need to be, just at the perfect time. Start by being right here now. Beautiful. I love that. Definitely like dimensions coming in there at the end of like, the yin and yang of steering, are you following too much or leading too much? And then seeing that it's like you really need to be leading, but still be aware of impact. And then this coming in to say like, also in that, one side of things versus the other, it's like, use that yang energy to get clear intentions and the yin to draw things to you. And then also that balance of like, don't always be totally self-focused too. There's still life going on. There's still people that need and love you. There's still other aspects of life taking place that need your energy. So like, keep things simple and clear and direct and be centered in that. And that also gives you that ability to not be overweighted in this ship you're kind of dreaming and steering now. Like, it has a certain priority, but not the only priority in life, right? So if you're able to be simple and clear and allow things to come to you, that allows you to have some other priorities and energy for other things going on in life as well. So I love all of these like tunings of balance coming in here. Really cool. So I hope this was helpful and resonant. Your reading definitely like went very clear and sharp and quick. So I do feel that energy around you that like things are happening, things are clear and simple. Just let them be. So if this resonated, I always appreciate support. Easy ways to do that are likes, shares, and subscribe. Always grateful for kind and thoughtful comments as well. But in general, just thank you for letting me read for you. I really enjoy doing it. So thanks for allowing me to, give you some messages. And I hope to see you in future readings. Hello, lovely pile 4. Welcome to your mystery reading. And boy, can I say that with confidence now that I've been through the first 3 piles. These readings have been very, very interesting, very mysterious, very deep, and beautiful too. So you guys picked the pile with the Aquarius card. I'll just hold that up for you. Actually, just noticing something with YouTube guidelines that I'll just be careful. Cover that up. Okay. Anyway, so diving into this Aquarius card, we are going to kick your reading off with that. I know my astrology very well. I could definitely riff off of Aquarius, but there has been something about tapping into the guidebook from these initial cards. Actually, I've been tapping into a lot of guidebooks, but definitely from these initial cards that, I don't know, it's like the tone it was written in or the perspective it was written in is definitely something that's like taking us into these very specific, mysterious portals. So even though I could very much so give my own interpretations for Aquarius, I am going to pull us into the book real quick. So from the Mike Wilcox Tarot and Oracle, the description of Aquarius here, the energetic meaning, air, devotion, beauty, individuality, creativity, benevolence. I love those words for Aquarius. Those are beautiful. Okay, Aquarius calls us to celebrate our individuality. Each and every one of our spirits are unique and filled with a dynamic expression that is 100% you. One of the many facets of true beauty is to honor and love yourself for who you are. And the beauty of that is we are who we decide to be. And we can evolve and grow and be whoever we want to be. Still, at our core, we all have an essence that makes us us, no matter what, and that is to be honored and loved. For each of us, have our own unique strengths and shortcomings that give spice to this beautiful dance we call life. And often the thing we think our biggest flaw gives birth to our greatest strength. When you love yourself fully, you can love others completely without depleting any of your energy. While it can help us grow to aspire and look up to others, comparing ourselves to them is always a disservice. Our journeys are all unique, and if they were you and lived your life, they would be where you are in this moment too. So aspire to be the best version of you each day. Mantra, I am beautiful and I love all of me. Yes, so love the message. This has something to do, it's at least kicking us off into the journey. I've definitely found that things very much so get added into that, but at least sort of like pulling us into whatever this mysterious message is. There's something Spirit wants to talk to you about in terms of really loving the full spectrum of who you are, owning all of your uniqueness, really finding a way to liberate anything about you that feels boxed in, that feels sort of oppressed or repressed, really finding an ability to, go your own way, be your own person. There's something here about that. Okay, so let's get a little deeper into this. We're going to pull 3 more cards from this same Oracle Tarot deck. We've got Death, so that's a tarot card. The Hierophant. Those are very interesting. I'll get into why I think those are interesting to come out back to back. Whoops. And then we had a card that really disrupted everything. Aquarius can be a disruptor too, so that feels interesting. This disruptor card, the last one is the Garden. I love that. Okay, very cool. I'm actually going to keep that a little separate. I want these two kind of their own. Okay, I've got it organized, so now let's look at these. Death and Hierophant. So there is definitely something calling out here where when we are in childhood or when we go through deep phases of like enculturation, we can still have those moments at other times in our lives, but we all definitely go through that in childhood. I'm just bringing up that this doesn't have to be from childhood. There are other times when we go through enculturation where we learn the traditions and the morals and the certain rights and wrongs, this and that, all those types of things in life. So for sure we do that in childhood, but there are times in our lives where we may move to a different culture or change a religion or find a different kind of way of living, and then we like re-enculturate what that culture means, how we relate to it, how we function in it, how we belong to it. There's something going on here where in some version of enculturation in your life, whether it was childhood or later on, this is indicating that either you are in process or about to start really examining that and seeing where aspects of the true essence of you got stuck through enculturation of some sort. I can definitely it's a very destabilizing thing to do, to be honest. This isn't easy work, but I could, from a very, very different chapter in my life, a much earlier chapter in my life, I could give some examples of what this is. So I grew up as a child in a very specific and strict and all-consuming religion. And although from day one I never, was the devout student of the religion or follower of the religion, it was my culture, right? Sorry, something stuck in my throat there. When I became adult enough to live on my own, I had known for some time that this was something I was going to leave, and luckily I came from a family that wasn't fundamentalists in the religion. They were, good members of the religion and were strict with it, but they didn't have a kind of perspective where it's like, well, we'll disown you if you leave it, or there's something wrong with you if you leave it. So I had an easier time than many that I know, but it still isn't easy to leave something that's so entrenched in you. And luckily I also had an older brother that left not well before, but he's like 3 years older than me and kind of he had a very similar path. He knew for a long time, but as soon as he was able to, be 18 and move out and have his own life, he definitely, cut that cord real quick. And so I had already seen someone in my family do it. He was very much so the black sheep, so anything I did, even if it was like going against the thing, was still like way more moderate. So it wasn't a hard thing for me to do compared to so many I know, but it was still something that took a lot of years to reorient, to know who I was and what was right and wrong and what was my new normal. And there are still days where something occurs to me where I'm like, whoa, where did that, I didn't really realize I was so reserved or closed-minded in this way or that way. And that definitely came from that upbringing. So that's just an example. This certainly does not have to be around religion, but there's something that you may be breaking away from because it really doesn't resonate with your true essence. It doesn't allow you to be free to be who you are completely. And it's a process. So I feel there's something here with the garden coming in of saying, have patience with this. Be gentle with it. This isn't something that can transform overnight. It's, these are, when we have a major change in what we follow, what we find to be like our authoritative guiding light or our cultural guiding light, it's a whole ecosystem of things that have to go through a death and rebirth. It is something that takes a really, really long time. And going back to my own example, people who I saw leave much later in adulthood in my religion, and with a lot of like bitterness and anger and like this sudden kind of shocking turn of, like something might have happened that like completely turned their beliefs and perspectives on their head. And so it was like this hard cut and a shocking cut and a really life-changing walking away from something. Those people went through, and I still see some people do this that I grew up with, really like years of very risky kinds of experimenting. And it's almost like from 0 to 60. Versus like the way I did it, because I left at a younger age and sort of tiptoed my way out and slowly, like it was kind of a slow process and I was still young. And so, I was naturally at an age where you're experimenting and whatnot. So it didn't like completely flip my life on its head and shatter it and make me fall into a place of being completely unstable and then dealing with ramifications of that in relationships and mental health and certain new types of behaviors that become hard to overcome. So my point in saying this is, don't do things too fast. Don't get reactive if you are leaving behind some kind of deep-rooted enculturation that dramatically alters how you're living your life. Tiptoe into it. Be slow, be gentle. You don't have to eradicate every belief all at once. You don't have to eradicate every behavior all at once. there's like moderation, tenderness, and patience is the key here. With the guidance of the garden. The garden is all about cultivating something beautiful and having patience and taking time and doing this thoughtfully, methodically, with an orientation of beauty and care and tenderness. And so this is saying that like whatever you're kind of like leaving behind that's influenced your beliefs, your sense of culture or right or wrong or morals, it's like, don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. Don't jump into a completely new life overnight. There's a way to do this that's slow, that's patient, that allows you to experience different things as you're ready, to open your mind to different things as you're ready, to open your circumstances and experiences at certain times as you're ready. And your core self, your essence self, who you are in your most original, unique core isn't going anywhere, right? That is always with us. So there's no need to rush this. There's no need to push this. There's no need to completely flip your life on its head. Slow and steady, with love, with care, with an eye on what feels beautiful, on what you would like to cultivate, having an idea of where you would like to be in life, and how to start planting, like clearing fields, planting seeds, and processes you need to start cultivating and giving the right kinds of soil and light and nutrition and tending to the things you see in your future. So this is sort of like whatever amount of time you feel is accurate to you, but I'm going to give a 5-year plan here as an example. Say the life I'm living, the beliefs I have, the morals I got entrenched in, the beliefs, customs, whatever that I got entrenched in that I now see have held back who I really am and I'd like to leave. Instead of focusing so much on what I'm eradicating and what I'm angry at and what I'm shattering, I'm going to keep an eye on, like, maybe it's a person, like that person over there. I want to live how they're living. I want to feel the way they feel to me. And so what are they doing in their life? What has made their life so beautiful? And start picking that apart. And then taking, maybe you do that with 5 people. And taking and picking and choosing the things from each of these examples that you love, that feel beautiful to you, and starting to think about, like, what's the plan? How did that person get there? And how do I get there? And creating plans for what you do want, and being patient and slow. And it's sort of like, as you focus on the things you do want, the things that you may be angry at or want to shatter or uproot and eradicate, more naturally and easily transform, more naturally and easily get processed and uprooted and lifted out of what's blocking your life force, instead of this like really harsh, death can be gentle and death can be violent. And so, like, what kind of death to what you're flipping on its head do you want? This is indicating to keep an eye on that gentle one. How do you have a gentle death? Metaphorically, in some kind of, it almost feels like a lifestyle or something, or a belief system. What are you going to, how is that beautiful to you, and how do you cultivate that beauty, and how does that naturally just start to grow over the things that were brittle and dying off anyway? How does that more naturally just kind of take care of the things you're asking to die out of your life in like an organic, systematic, gentle way. So I don't know if this doesn't resonate to you, because it does feel like a pretty specific message. You may want to try a different pile, but this, I don't know, it feels pretty clear that there's something, if you've come to this pile, there's something about breaking free from old system, old belief, old authority, old culture that hasn't allowed you to really be who you are. Okay, moving on. We are going to get a little more information now from a Myan Oracle. This system has, at least in this deck, there are kind of like archetypes, resonances or harmonics, and different lenses. And don't worry, you don't have to understand what that means. But we're going to get 2 cards from this to see what this wisdom system might add to what we're seeing. Shadow. This one wants to come out too. And Sib. Yeah, okay. All right. I am going to look in the book for shadow and see what the context of shadow from this system's perspective. If I can find it. Hold on. Here we go. Shadow. Reaction, resistance, attachment, unfinished business, unexpressed aspects, hidden potential, journey to wholeness, healing destructive family patterns, and internalized father-mother. Wow, that really calls out that this is probably childhood stuff. Yeah, this could even be as basic as like no longer living the life your childhood or your parents laid out for you, and maybe like to own, like break free of those kinds of constructs they gave you to more fully own who you are. There is kind of like a lot of having to have difficult conversations or do things that may not be approved of, that can be hard, right? That can, even when you know you're owning your own originality more fully, can even come with issues like guilt, because we were taught that this thing or this behavior or whatever it was is not, it's in the bad category. And that can be very confusing when you're like, well, it feels right to me, but I was taught it's bad, so how do I reconcile? And there can be like shame and guilt that comes through there. And so this is definitely calling out, there's likely some things like that in some level going on in terms of breaking some parental or family programming. And I love this, it totally called out journey to wholeness, and that's what this Aquarius is. In one phrase, this is your journey to wholeness. This is what this mystery message is about. And it's like, do you want to focus that journey to wholeness on what you're angry at? Or do you want to focus it on what you want to be, what you want life to look like for you? Reaction and resistance, for sure. Those things can, when you're doing this kind of shadow work to release something that's no longer, where you just know it's not you anymore, there can be moments where you reactively do things like I was talking about, where, there's some people that leave a system so abruptly and so fully, and it brings a lot of reactive energy that's unstable. And then it can swing all the way back to resistance and like, oh, well, all these experiences I had, that even though you may not see were just kind of that experience is because they were done out of a reactionary energy, sort of traumatized me. So I'm going to go all the way back in and resist being myself again. I've seen that so many times. There's a big yo-yo effect on like people who leave really deep-rooted things of like fully leaving and then coming fully back even more strictly and then breaking even more dramatically. Like it can be a very tumultuous thing. So this is kind of calling that out, that reaction and then resistance. And then there's the attachment issue. What are the attachments? Why are you, when there are attachments there, and it's usually pretty easy to see like an attachment, but you have to get under with death. That's asking you to get under the surface of like, well, why am I attached to this? And that's really hard. Like when we, especially if this is coming from childhood things, there can be some really deep-rooted patterning to wanting to be seen certain way by very specific people that are so entrenched in our wiring. And it's sort of like you can go through a lot of work to see through illusions of those attachments, see through like why you give certain things or people so much power. That takes work in itself. And then unfinished business, unexpressed aspects, hidden potential. These are all the things that Aquarius, like that this mystery message is wanting you to really look at and work on and but in like this moderate, beautiful way. Like what are your unexpressed aspects? What are your hidden potentials that haven't been able to be expressed here? And then Sib comes along. This is the warrior, it's intelligence, it's fearlessness. This is about having the courage to ask questions. That is so important to what's coming through here. Having, questions are great. It may sound like easy, like, oh yeah, ask questions. Questions are easy to ask. When it comes to what we're talking about here, questions take courage. Questions can be confronting. Questions can destabilize things. Questions can create drama in life, but this is encouraging you to ask questions of yourself, of what you're transforming or kind of detangling from, asking questions about what you want, asking questions in all of the dimensions and dynamics, asking questions about what is being, like what has been unable to be expressed in you that is core to who you're starting to feel about yourself, that you can't box certain aspects of yourself in anymore. Go into that, ask the questions, where are the fears in breaking this aspect of me free, or exploring this untapped side of me that I've kept hidden away, or whatever it is. It's like there's so many things here that you could ask questions about, and it's saying be fearless in this. Ask the tough questions in all of the different dimensions of whatever's going on, whatever this relates to for you. Okay, next we are going to get a message from the Medicine Heart Oracle, and I will be kind of tapping into the book for this, the guidebook. This wants to come out. Sacred Law of the Northwest. Beautiful. This again feels like the garden that was up here. I don't think this card necessarily has a garden association, but visually, right? The imagery here very much so has like that garden association. And on top of her head, like imagining and thinking about, how do you want life to feel? What do you want in life? Imagine it, right? Hold some vision for it. Make space to dream about this. Okay, let's see what the guidebook says for this. I feel like there's probably a lot of times in this deck, the little animals that appear on the card also they'll bring up associations there. So koala definitely has something going on. Let's see. 41. Okay, the soul recognizes the choices that will facilitate alignment with its authentic path and the spiritual dimensions from which it originates. Wow, I'm going to read that sentence one more time. You may want to even write that sentence down. That really hits home with what we've been saying. The soul recognizes the choices that will facilitate alignment with its authentic path and the spiritual dimensions from which it originates. Wow. If that doesn't speak to what we've been talking about, I don't know. Okay, such integrity is not externally motivated, but internally driven. At a certain stage on the path, the soul will no longer rely on societal beliefs as the barometer for conduct and will cultivate a more mature, spiritually aligned inner code that resonates with its particular understanding of sacred law. You guys, I mean, you saw me shuffle and just randomly draw a card, right? Like, whoa. Okay. To find your way through any matter of concern, take your time to reflect upon your choices until you sense that which resonates with your heart. This is speaking to that reaction. Don't just break things because you can no longer live in that box. Go into your heart, listen, get still, connect to source, connect to your own soul, and wait until the resonance comes to know what to do rather than just reacting because you can't contain it anymore. You can't be boxed in anymore. I get that, but it's maybe some restraint there, one foot out of the box, but don't shatter it. Find that inner heart whispering. Find the resonance that's talking to you of what to do, right? Find action from your heart, not reaction from mind. I do think there's that felt charged to me. There's something here of the mind really wants us to react. It doesn't want us to react, but it can make us very reactive. It can tell us a lot of stories. It can trap us in our own, narratives and assumptions and emotions and whatnot. And it's sort of get into your heart and resonance and find that resonant, beautiful, heartfelt response, rather than coming from mind with decisions and actions that could be very reactive and then have you go 180 the other way to resistance. There's something about dropping in, finding some restraint, dropping inside, inward, into your heart to find the right action, the right decision, the right response to things. There's a beautiful way to do things that Spirit wants you to connect to. Many blessings as yet unseen will flow as you remain in alignment with your soul's inner code. Beautiful. Okay, let me see if I can scan this guidebook interpretation to find, there is koala stuff here. Let's see what it says. Koala soul medicine is complex. The adorable arboreal dwelling marsupial is a totem for resurrection and renewal. We have death here, yep. As well as a custodian of sacred law. The primary diet of koalas is eucalyptus leaves. These leaves contain toxic chemicals which create an increased need for rest to digest, and koalas will sleep for around 20 hours daily. When processing complex, difficult, or toxic experiences, koala encourages the wise approach of slow and steady I mean, yeah, that's what we're tapping into here. To thoroughly digest the challenge and become able to withdraw the benefit and release the remainder. Yes, your heart will help you filter, and there is a lot that you're processing and digesting in something right now, in something that you are trying to release your more whole expression. Be slow with this. Allow yourself to rest more because you're processing on such deep and grand levels, that it's like you're recovering from some kind of poisoning. Like it said, the eucalyptus leaves are toxic, and to recover and process and get what you need from the experience and expel what's not right for you, it just takes time. There's no way around it. It takes time, right? So yeah, I don't know what else to say there. This is so crazy. Let's see if there's anything else Koala wants to say. Koalas feed at night and rest during the day. When koala appears in an oracle, it can indicate that a deep soul healing process is underway, and your dreams are actively nourishing your process. Night represents the mysterious, intelligent, slow-moving, restorative function of the deep mind, assessed through dreams, meditation, ritual, and sacred practices, and creative self-expression. This contrasts daytime, which can represent conscious activity, logical strategy, and making things happen through willpower. There are times when healing requires that we trust in the facets of our being that operate below and beyond our conscious awareness, and surrender the more masculine, task-oriented conscious approach to instead allow the feminine genius to perform her instinctively corrective, irrational healing magic. Koala invites the divine feminine principle of natural healing and restoration through rest and dreaming into our process, teaching that there are times when logical, rational approaches to life are inadequate for the task at hand. Sometimes we need non-ordinary experience to prepare the way before logical steps in conscious activity will become appropriate and useful. Yes, I think that is really exactly the heart, and so well articulated what I was trying to interpret and decipher. So beautiful. Okay, let's get a card from the Lightworker Oracle. Let's see, this top one kind of fell. Dark Angel. Okay, let me get the guidebook. So card 30. There is a sacred mystery within our experiences of darkness, which is the potential for healing that such experiences can bring. Your struggles through the dark times can empower you with wisdom to heal yourself and even to inspire others with the courage to embrace their own healing journey. The dark angel comes to you with a radical truth to reassure your heart and bring you great joy. There is no experience that means love has forgotten you or no longer cares. In every moment, especially those times when it seems most unlikely, the divine heart cares about you. The universe and your soul are creatively collaborating for your consciousness in an intricately and lovingly crafted plan to actualize your divine potential and help you heal your soul into all of its beauty. When the dark angel comes to you, you are being given a sacred gift of far-reaching benefit for your soul, even though it may seem to be a hidden blessing at first. Yeah, so this is just confirmation. There wasn't a lot of new information in this, but definitely a lot of confirmation here of things we've already said. this very first phrase, though, just gives context to maybe what you are experiencing. There is a sacred mystery within our experiences of darkness. So sometimes we have to go, through certain deaths, certain darkness to reconnect to and move our life force to see where it's leaking, where it's clogged, where it's blocked, what's got some control over it in ways that have become no longer acceptable, right? And so, yeah. I'm just going to read the first paragraph of this longer interpretation to see if anything else comes through from this. The soul is able to heal through radiant grace and dark mysteries, where struggle empowers the soul to learn something of enormous value, becoming more capable of joy and happiness in the long term. So that's just the first sentence, but that is something to hold on to with hope, is that whatever you feel you're going through or that connects for you around this reading, it's by going through it, right? By allowing yourself to go through this. On the other side of it, there is you'll tap into this greater capacity for joy and happiness. And it's because the work you're doing is connecting you to your more full spectrum essence, right? The more whole sense of you. Let's see. Through dark mystery, the soul learns that even if things don't seem to be working out according to the timing or the methods that we believed were necessary, good will prevail eventually. If a door closes in front of you, it is happening because it is the wrong door for you. So that is context. For some of you, maybe this is something where you're being shut out. Maybe it wasn't a conscious decision you made, but something closed a door to you. To that, I would say the reason that's happening is you are no longer resonating with it. Your soul had something to do with, your soul as well as the universe had something to do with orchestrating that to happen. Even if there's no clear recognition of how that would be, it's like your resonance was no longer working with that door because it was stifling you. And that was recognized in the energetics and the harmonics of the universe and in your soul. And so there was, more of this subtle conspiring to close a door to you. Just if that if that relates to you, where you feel like you didn't choose whatever this death is about, it closed to you or something. So that would only be probably for a handful if that resonates for you. Divine love will ensure that the right door opens at the right time. You may not know why, and you may find this hard to believe. Your mind may find it difficult to remain trusting in the light and not fall into doubt and fear. Yet the faith developed through such times will enhance your spiritual strength to rise rather than fall when your soul, and perhaps other souls too, need your confidence and optimism the most. So sometimes we can look back on those times of darkness as really enriching times in our life. And sometimes you can feel that in the moment, even though it doesn't feel great and there's uncertainty and there's ache and potentially drama. There's something going on that on some level you're deepening. On some level you're releasing things, and there's something under all of that, there's like this enriching feeling that whether we recognize it completely in the moment or not, when we look back, we can kind of be like, wow, that was a really strangely beautiful time. And you don't experience that often. And like parts of you could even like long to experience that again, right? Because there's something so deep there. Okay, so to end this reading, we are going to get a card from the secret language of animals for you guys. Definitely of the readings, this feels like the very tender one. But I think like really beautiful messaging and guidance coming through around it all. Okay. Okay, animal, where are you? This is not coming out. This one wants to come. Albatross, faith, endurance, journey, and hope. Yeah, beautiful. Okay, let's just get maybe a paragraph from our albatross. Albatross glides to you upon the ocean breeze, bringing renewed hope and the promise of good fortune for your path ahead. It takes courage to set out on a journey of any kind, and albatross knows that sometimes we must travel far beyond the shores of our comfort zone before we can catch a glimpse of our aspired destination. The comfort zone is that thing that is, you know, that you're breaking free of right now, you know? Okay. When the nights are long and dark, when the wind appears to push against your passage, it can be easy to question the calling that brought you to this path in the first place. It is in these times when our doubt is most justified that we are called to keep our faith and courage alive and honor ourselves for the sacred nature of our journey. Albatross's message is to look beyond the wave of current circumstances and smile at the light that is emerging on the horizon. And then there's just like a little, it's not quite a mantra, but a little sentence at the end of this. I trust the calling of my spirit and soar beyond what once seemed possible. My life is a great and epic journey. I am faith in motion. So definitely saying like hang in there. Although this is telling you to ask all of the questions, it's saying don't question your soul calling, though, your faith, which is kind of paradoxical and funny. But it's saying like hang in there, have faith, hope is on the horizon. You have the endurance you need for the journey you're on. Just tough it out a little longer, and I think, you know, quite soon you'll have those heart knowings. You'll start to see certain horizons. Faith and hope will be rewarded, and you will start to feel more of that as you kind of commit to whatever you're doing to break you free of things that are preventing you from fully being who you are. Okay, this is where I'm going to leave you guys. If this resonated, I always appreciate support, likes, shares, subscribes. Always grateful for kind and thoughtful comments as well. But in general, thank you for letting me read for you guys. I love doing it, so I hope it was insightful for you, and I hope to see you in future readings.